In this video, we're going to go over how to solve a word problem involving a system of linear equations where the totals are the same category. And you'll see what I mean as I go through this. Now, again, a very popular way, in my opinion, to solve these out is to translate as you read. And when you're practicing this kind of problem or any kind of word problem, just practice getting the system of equations down and defining the variable, then move on to the next problem in your homework and practice doing that same thing again. Come back and solve all of them out with the system of equations process you know so well. And if you don't know them so well, check out videos on how to solve systems of equations. All right, you buy 8 gallons of paint and 3 brushes for $152.50. So before I even go on, I immediately see there's 2 variables here. It's gallons of paint, right? The cost for a gallon of paint, and 3 brushes for that total. So if you don't see it's the cost, if you read to the end, the question says how much does each gallon cost and how much does each brush cost? So those are our variables. I define them first. So G equals cost of 1 gallon. And I'll just say cost of 1 gallon. You could say of paint. I guess I won't be lazy. Of paint. I won't be lazy. You don't be lazy either. And then we'll say that B equals the cost of 1 paintbrush. Cost of 1 brush. Okay, so now we've defined our variables. We actually have an equation that comes out of that first sentence. You buy 8 gallons of paint, so that would be 8 times the cost of 1 gallon would be 8G. You add that to 3 brushes, which would be 3B. Because you're saying the cost of 1 brush is B, if I triple that, that will give me the cost of 3 brushes. And if I add up the cost of the paint, the 8 gallons, plus the cost of the 3 brushes, I'll get my total of $152.50. Nice. So there's our first equation. Now, on to the second equation. The next day, you buy 6 gallons of paint. So that would be 6 times the cost of 1 gallon of paint, which is G, would give us the total cost of the paint, and 2 brushes. So that would be plus 2 times the cost of 1 brush, and that is a total of $113. And I'm going to write 0.00 just so the decimals line up. That's a beautiful thing. So what I meant in the beginning of the video when I said that the totals are the same type, we have the total cost of gallons of paint and brushes in each of these equations. And we had a nice straightforward translation from each sentence. Nice and smooth. This is where I would practice getting to, defining the variables and then getting to your equations. Of course I'm going to solve it out, but this is the main part. This is the new part. Everything that's about to follow is just me solving out a system of equations using elimination because we have 2 variables on one side of each equation. So this is a review of where we've been before, so I'm going to go a little quicker than I did in the elimination videos. So if you're having trouble following, go back to the system of equation elimination videos to figure it out. Okay, so I have 3 and 2 and 8 and 6. We need those numbers to be the same. I think the 3 and 2, I wouldn't have to multiply by as much to get the b's to be eliminated. So I'm going to multiply the top by 2 and the bottom equation by 3. And that will make the b values, each of them, be 6b. Okay, so that leaves me with, and I'll go over here, I'll go right below it. That leaves me with 16g, 2 times 8, 2 times 3 is 6b, is equal to 2 times 152.50. You might need a calculator, maybe, that's $305. 3 times 6g is 18g. 3 times 2 is plus 6b. There we go. We know that elimination is going to work sweetly. 3 times 113 is 339. All right. So now from here, we need to eliminate the b values because they have the same coefficient. So I need to subtract because 6b minus 6b is 0. 16 minus 18 is negative 2g. 6b minus 6b, 0. They eliminated. 305 minus 339 is negative 34. And before you panic and think, oh no, I have 2 negatives, that's okay, because a negative will divide by a negative to give us a positive. So that's what I have left. I'm going to divide both sides by negative 2. And I'm going to go over to this side right here. So that will give us g is equal to 17, and it's $17. So the cost for 1 can of paint, 1 gallon can that is $17. Now we were also asked for the cost of 1 brush. So now I'm going to take that 17 right up there and plug it into the equation with the smaller b value. That would be the second equation here, and solve for, the smaller g value, and solve for b. Let's use that second equation. So I have 6g plus 2b, and we know that that equaled a total of 113. Again, using the original equation is good practice. 6g, that's 117, not 117, holy cow. That's 17. How about I copy what's there? 17 plus 2b is equal to 113. And now we solve out. So 6 times 17 is 60, and 42 is 102, doing a little mental math. Plus the 2b equals 113. I'm going to subtract 102 from both sides. 113 minus the 102 is going to give us 11. And then we divide both sides by 2. So B ends up equaling $5.50 per brush. So a brush costs $5.50 and that gallon of paint costs $17. Now I hope you see why it's so important that you just get to this step right here and then do elimination later. The actual process of elimination takes up more than double the amount of time it takes to do the translations. So now you've had more than double the time to just not practice the new part. That's why I suggest practicing the new part, going on to another problem, practicing the new part, going on to another problem, and then coming back and solving them out. Maybe saving 2 questions or so to solve out the whole thing. See you next time.